As a spiritual hoochie, we're all about living our truth, owning our sensuality, embracing our sexuality, but also keeping it spiritual, very much like spiritual gangster. And because, you know, you're as magnetic as you are, as authentic as you are, as unapologetically you as you are, I mean, the mere fact that you call yourself a spiritual hoochie, there will be people out there that think that you lack boundaries. And because they think that you lack boundaries, they would try to push the limits. They would try to take advantage. They would try you. That is, of course, until you set boundaries and you stand on them. The boundaries, see, those are your don't cross these lines, okay? Those are your standards that you set for yourself that people, you know that they can't cross or else. And it's very important as a spiritual hoochie that you have boundaries. Okay, it's very, very, very important because, like I said, people gonna perceive, and people are allowed to perceive, but that doesn't mean that their perceptions have to define your reality. You define your reality by how you set forth these standards for how you treat yourself and how you allow others to treat you. So, with that being said, let's get into how exactly do we set boundaries and stand on them as a spiritual hoochie, because some people think that, you know, when you set boundaries, like you're being mean or you're being a bitch, when really you're protecting your peace, you're protecting your aura, you're protecting your energy, you're protecting yourself, and you're also protecting them, maybe even from you. Okay, they don't want this wrath, all right? Okay. And sometimes we might find ourselves getting to a place in life where we might be a little bit passive aggressive just because we don't want to be perceived in a certain light. But I'm here to tell you, fuck that. Fuck that. Because at the end of the day, you have to put yourself first and you have to protect yourself. You have to protect your nervous system. So, with that being said, again, how do we do that? And like maintain the relationships that we want to maintain, but also identify those relationships that we have with people that don't respect our boundaries so that we can know that those are the people that can't come. Those are the people that can't go, honey. Okay, so first things first, name the issue. Get clear on the things that you won't tolerate. Get clear on what crosses the line for you. Reflect on the moments in your life where people have made you feel uneasy. They've made you feel uncomfortable. They've made you feel like you not you. Write those things down so that you can remember and recall on them whenever you're unclear about whether something is a clear boundary for you. So name that. Name it for yourself first things first. Then after you name the issue, you got to make some decisions, baby, because it's one thing to have boundaries. It's another thing to set them. It's another thing to enforce them. Okay. So what are these decisions? What is acceptable to me? What is crossing the line to me? What is tolerable for me? What is it that I need in my relationships with myself, in my relationship with others, in order to feel safe? What do I need? Because you got to pick a side. Like, you have to pick a side. You cannot operate in the gray when it comes to people. Like, let's be real, you're already operating in the gray by even being a spiritual hoochie. So when it comes to like these boundaries, when it comes to the way people treat you, when it comes to knowing your worth, when it comes to showing up for yourself, for others, and how people show up for you, you got to get clear on what that is, because people will fucking try you. And then you got to communicate it. Be direct, but be kind. You don't have to be mean. You ain't got to be a bitch. You ain't got to do the most. You ain't got to make a scene. You ain't got to be dramatic. You can simply be like, look, I love you, but I don't have the energetic capacity for this conversation anymore. And I hope that you can respect that. You can be like, I appreciate the fact that you view me as someone that you can call on with your problems. Let me stop. Don't say it like that. You know what I'm saying? People might take a little offense. Okay, so you get what I'm saying? Like, I remember a time where my dad would be calling me about, you know, a family member. And I have to tell, and over again. And I had to tell him, like, look, Dad, I love you. And, like, I really appreciate that we have this relationship where, you know, you feel safe enough to vent to me. But I got to be real. Like, I don't have the energy or the capacity for this conversation anymore. Like, it's starting to disrupt my nervous system. And I hope you can respect that. And we can't talk about this no more. I'm sorry. If these people love you, if they respect you, then they will respect your boundaries and they won't view this as something that they need to take personal and a reason to be like, I don't fuck with you no more, and like a reason for them to like hold a grudge and view you in a certain light. And if they do, clock it. Clock it. If they do, then that person is not for you. Because here's the thing, you don't need to explain yourself. Okay, let's cut the explanations. All right, as spiritual hoochies, we don't explain ourselves. Okay, we don't explain shit. You don't need, because here's the truth. Sometimes you would dig yourself into a deeper hole when you start explaining your boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't owe anybody an explanation. Now, if you want to, that's on you. But you don't owe it, because sometimes we will over explain ourselves thinking that we owe somebody an explanation and we don't. Okay. Now the most important thing when it comes to these boundaries is trusting your body and trusting yourself. Even if it does not make sense for anybody else, you have to be clear about the fact that it makes sense for you. If every time I get around this person, I feel uneasy, I need to trust what my body is communicating to me. Okay. Know your worth, baby, because you deserve so much more than settling for being around people that are not for you, being around people that don't respect your boundaries and therefore don't respect you. Okay, respect you enough to set boundaries, respect you enough to stand on them, respect you enough to be clear about when those boundaries are being crossed, and respect yourself enough to enforce the consequences that come with somebody crossing your lines. All right. All right. Now, lastly, I have taken note of some affirmations that you can say or utilize or refer to when it comes to these boundaries. All right. So I'm just going to read them off for you. My peace is non-negotiable. Say it with me. My peace is non-negotiable. I trust my nervous system to guide me towards what aligns with my highest good. Say it with me. I trust my nervous system to guide me toward what aligns with my highest good. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love, and baby, I choose me every time. Say it with me. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love, and I choose me every time. We got to say that one again. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love, an act of self-care, and I'm going to choose me every time. Like, that's it. And I hope you choose you too. Okay, you got to let people know, like, I'm setting these boundaries for me to protect me. And I want you to set them boundaries for you to protect you. We ain't got to do the tit for tat thing. Like, just because this is a boundary for me, that doesn't mean it's a boundary for you. And, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to decide that for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Another affirmation. I release guilt for protecting my energy and honoring my needs. Say it with me. I release guilt from protecting my energy and honoring my needs. Last one. The right people will respect my boundaries. The wrong ones will remove themselves. I ho. Okay, say it with me. The right people will respect my boundaries. The wrong ones will remove themselves. And let's be clear. If they don't remove themselves, they will make themselves clear about the fact that they need to be removed. And then you have to remove them. Simple as that. All right. Now, be okay with removing the people out of your life that don't respect your boundaries. Okay. And it's very important to now be clear, now that you're clear on what your boundaries are. Nurture the relationships with people that respect your boundaries. Nurture those relationships with the people that support you, people that want your nervous system to be calm and at peace, want for you to be happy and feel good around them, want you to be comfortable around them, can acknowledge like, hey, I see that that makes you uncomfortable, and therefore I will work on not doing that anymore because that's the boundary for you. And I love you enough to respect your boundaries. 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 And therefore, I pray and hope and wish that you love me enough to respect mine. Do you love me enough to respect mine? Do you love me enough to respect my boundaries? Okay. And then get around people that do. And if you have yet to build a community of people that are boundary enforcers and therefore respect your boundaries, then that means you need to bring your ass on over here to the Spiritual Hoochie Sanctuary. Okay. So that we can support you on your journey to aligning with the highest version of yourself, that not only is clear about what their boundaries are, but also are clear about enforcing them, and also don't allow the fact that people perceive them in a certain light because, oh, you're a spiritual hoochie, to mean that you don't have boundaries, baby, because that's not the case. Actually, you'll be surprised. It be the spiritual hoochies be the main ones with the boundaries. Them other ones, sometimes they be the main ones without. Clock it. Sips tea. All right. See you guys over in the Spiritual Hoochie Sanctuary on Patreon. I'm your girl DeeVine, your favorite sensual spiritual rap goddess, the Spiritual Hoochie. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.